All right, the Colorado Avalanche have their backs up against the wall. What are we expecting for Game 5 in Dallas? New episode of Locked On Avalanche coming at you.
Your Locked On Avalanche, your daily podcast on the Colorado Avalanche. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Locked On Avalanche podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Chris Maselli. With me, as always, Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. Thank you for tuning in, making it your first listen of the day. Always appreciated. Make sure you're following us on social media outlets, LOPN_Avalanche on Twitter, X, Locked On Avalanche, and Instagram, and Threads. Questions, comments, concerns, and opinions, lockedonavalanche@gmail.com. And follow us on our YouTube channel. Hit subscribe, get notified when a new show goes live, and make sure you are subscribed to our subtext. Link to that is in the show notes below. And when you do, chat with Kyle and I one-on-one. We get your opinion, everything Avalanche related, which we share on this very podcast, which we will do a little bit later when our subtext crew chimes in on what to expect and what the Avs need to do for this do or die game, Game 5 in Dallas. Where we're going to start today is more Val Nichushkin talk, obviously. We recorded yesterday's episode kind of right after the game was over. So there were obviously some comments made by a few players in the, they're going to get asked about this, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be asked about this the entirety of the off season and up until if and when he returns to the Colorado Avalanche. So there, I think the three that stood out, the Jack Johnson comment stood out above all else. That one really was eyebrow raising to me. And he basically just said, quote, he made his decisions. That's all I'm going to say on that. He made his decisions. So it's already that comment. You just kind of feel like, okay, there's already a divide happening here between players and Val Nichushkin, or at least just Jack Johnson. And Jack Johnson doesn't speak for the entirety of the locker room, but I think this is where you're going to see different guys have different opinions on it, and which they are entitled to. So there's a couple other that I'll get to, but just your thoughts on that comment and just how the Avs seem to have responded to this in the early going.
They have responded to it in typical Avs form, the nicest possible way that they could. Jack Johnson was admittedly the most brash, but they already took his nameplate down in the locker room. And honestly, speaking on the team behalf, that's your guy. That's your brother that you've went through all 82 games with. Well, with the exception of him taking a step away, you went through the season with him. You thought this was the comeback, and then it wasn't. And it's frustrating. If this was a business and somebody had to step out that you were relying on and was a shining moment in that Winnipeg series, I understand the frustration. And honestly, if you look at the comments from yesterday, Avs fans are frustrated too. Sure, everybody's frustrated, and that's understandable.
Yeah. I think, and then Cale Makar was another one who was asked about it, and he basically just said, and again, this is right after the game is over, and they're just adjusting to this, even though they just played a game and they knew earlier than the world did, but not that much earlier. You just finished a game, you just lost another playoff game, and then you got microphones stuck in your face. It's probably the last thing they wanted, but they got to know that it's coming clearly, right? And Makar's comments were just like, we dealt with this last year, we have to deal with it again this year. And it's kind of like, okay, you could take that either way. You could take that as him saying, just take it for face value. We dealt with it last year and now we're dealing with it again. Or you can be that person that wants to dig into that and say, that's a statement of frustration. And maybe there's a little bit of both there. You know what I mean? Because you have to feel like the players are two things can be true at the same time. You're concerned for your teammate, you're concerned for him, and like you said, you went through an entirety of another season, and then this happens. So you have concern for him, and on the other end, you have a job to do, and you're relying on him to help you do that job, just like everybody else in that locker room is. So the fact that he is not there again for similar reasons, I am sure there's frustration out of it. And I think the Avs are doing a pretty good job of not going over the line right now of maybe saying or something and putting their foot in their mouths that if they're really feeling that way, they're doing a good job of not really showing it right now, because I think their focus is on, yeah, like, okay, like I get you're going to ask me these questions, but we're still in the middle of a series here, and the series is not going our way. So this is just piling everything on right now, and I'll deal with that more in the off season, maybe. So it's kind of like a balancing act that the Avs are doing right now, and it can't help the psyche of the team. It cannot.
And like you said, this is a do or die game 5, and you expect questions to be of that nature. Like, the top line isn't doing anything. Why aren't we talking about that? I'd rather hear about, hey, Nate, Miko, Kale, where's your production? Why aren't you stepping up? What's going on? Like, questions to that. Hey, Georgiev has been great.
Mhm.
Like, what's that been like to see
Yeah.
him have this kind of resurgence? But questions are now tilted. And, like, from a team perspective, I don't know how much they could say with it being a league substance program, what they're limited
Oh, if
on.
they're maybe there might be something there. I don't know. There could be some
Because when
confidentiality stuff. Who knows?
yeah, when Sam Gerard and Nuke went out earlier this year, the conversation was limited on returns and why and what. The All the questions around that was very
Mhm.
tight-lipped, and you just kind of went with the statement, and then that's what you had. So I feel like
Yeah.
that's also what you're getting here too. And with it being a level 3, it's probably even more than that. And the
Mhm.
team probably doesn't want to speak out, because if it does end up becoming a contract issue, you don't want these comments to weigh in one way or another when that time comes.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, you never know. But Jared Bednar was the other one that was obviously asked about it. I wish I could have his just calm, cool collectedness that he has after every single game. Doesn't matter how big or how small it is. He has the same style of that, how he interacts with the media. Um, and I thought he said all of the right things. He really broke it out into, yeah, it hurts. It hurts the team because he's such a big part of what we do, but at the same time, want him to go get help. And the thing that he said, like, he goes, right now, like, those two things are separated.
Mhm.
Basically saying like Val Nichushkin and the Colorado Avalanche are separated. So that statement I thought was a little bit, not the Jack Johnson level, but he's not lying. I mean, they are. It's now just the question is for how long, and we'll talk about it more in the off season when me. It's so weird. I say like when we know more, but we might not know. There's really nothing more to know other than a final decision on what you want to do with him. So,
And
but the way Bednar handled it, I thought was very. It was leadership. It was what a coach should say, and I thought he did a great job with it.
you nailed it, because I think his comments spoke louder than Jack Johnson's, but Jack Johnson's were more immediate, so they're running a little bit more. But he also made the comment, I hope, like, I know him as a person, and I've come to
Yeah.
know him, and I hope the quote that really stuck with me all day today was, I hope he finds his happiness whether it's with us or without us.
Hmm.
And that, if to hear that already in a press conference when he's talking about, yes, as a team it's frustrating, but you got to move on, and that doesn't excuse our play, but as a person you want to see him get help whether it's with us or without us. And that might be tipping a hand and letting everybody know that this conversation is also going on internally. Just relax, but focus on
Hmm.
the effort part, because it's more than just one player, and it's a whole team effort right now that's an issue.
Uh, One of the comments that he said that stuck with me is, we all want to, something to the effect of, we want to make hockey like end all be all,
Mm,
and hockey is life, and it's not.
yeah.
But in another way, I disagree with that too, Jared Benner. Hockey is life. You have to understand that.
I
No, I'm
mean,
kidding.
I
I'm
mean, come
kidding.
on. It's literally in my
uh,
wardrobe.
exactly right. All right, so let's get to this game. What can we expect from the Avalanche in Dallas? This do or die game that they win, they come back to Denver, but they gotta win this game for that to happen. So let's talk about that coming up next. Let's hear from Policygenius. It's the country's leading online insurance marketplace. It saves you time and money so you can provide your family with a financial safety net starting today. And with Policygenius, you can find life insurance policies that start at just $292 per year for $1 million of coverage. Some options offer same-day approval and avoid unnecessary medical exams. Policygenius helps you compare your options from top companies, and their team of licensed experts is on hand to help talk you through it. And your work life insurance policy may not offer enough protection for your family's needs. And even worse, it may not come with you if you leave your job. And Policygenius gives you unbiased advice from licensed experts support teams. So check life insurance off of your to-do list in no time with Policygenius. Head to policygenius.com/lockedonnhl or click the link in the description to get your free life insurance quotes and see how much you could save at policygenius.com/lockedonnhl. So what the Avalanche need to do is what the Boston Bruins just did. The Bruins down 3-1 went into Florida and they just won minutes ago. That game is over 2-1. So it can be done, people. Even and Boston's really kind of been handled in that series. So are they carbon copies of one another? I don't know. That's a debate you can have, but Boston was not looking good and they just went into Florida and stole a game. So does that give you hope as an Avalanche fan? Two completely different teams, two completely different scenarios, but it just shows you that, yeah, it can happen. So for the Avalanche, I'll just put it in your hands. What are you looking for this team to do that they have not been doing so far in this series, in this game 5?
Easy. Play the game. Like, let's I mean, for everybody who's saying it's 3-1, the series is over, I'm already packing it in, book your bags. What's tea time? You have Nathan McKinnon, Mikko Rantanen, and Cale Makar. That line alone, you can run them out there for 60 minutes. They can make an impact.
Yeah.
Like, it's you have to look at this roster, and you just have to ask the team to play. And we talked about the crispness of their passing and just where their head is at. Don't make the play, drive the play, create the pressure, and start scoring. Just carry it a little bit more. Don't worry about passing. Once you break Dallas's will and their momentum, where they have been pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing, if you just drive it a little bit more, and just clean up your rebounds, change it up just a little bit, but rely on that talent to drive plays instead of just pass around and make the perfect highlight play that you could share to all your friends. That is what the Avalanche need to do, because right now you're not passing your plays. You're not passing something open. That's why your power play looks so bad. You have to start driving the play.
I'm with you on how the first thing you said, just go play the game. And for so long, like there are times where the Avalanche just try to make things difficult for themselves because they have so much talent on this team. Do they try to make the pretty play all the time? Yeah, sometimes they do, but sometimes they just get in their own head, and you can tell that they are.
Yeah.
So you're right. I mean, they are playing so tight, and they are playing to not make mistakes. And when you do that, all you do is make mistakes. And Dallas is playing the total opposite. Dallas is playing their game, and they're playing with confidence. First of all, I mean, how can you not, the way that they're playing right now? And it's the complete opposite for the Avalanche. But I think the Avalanche just fear the screw up. And like I said, when you do that, when you have that in your mind, that's what happens in reality, and it's playing out on the ice. So yeah, you're down, guys. You're down a big piece, but you know that now. You've had a day off to come to terms with that and cope with it as far as what's going on the ice for you. So maybe you have another day to kind of plan for that and have some sort of game plan without him being there. You can't really replace what Val Nichushkin does on the ice. So you have to do things differently. And driving plays is exactly what you need to do. If you get power plays in this game, oh man, like something has got to give with those. Those are, I use this term loosely, like the free throws of you have the advantage there. Clearly, they're not as easy as free throws. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying you have the advantage is there for the taking, and it is just looked so inept, and it is just getting into the zone. Get deeper into the zone. The Avs are doing this thing where they just, as soon as they cross the blue line, they stop. And now you're up against it because now Dallas has two guys on you and they've cornered you because you're right by the blue line and you have nobody to pass to. So you try to dump it behind the net, and there's already a guy there, and it's just not working. Get the puck deeper into the zone. I know they do the chip and chase. That's probably going to still happen. If you're going to do that, you better go win a battle against the boards. Because again, if you don't, you've just wasted a offensive possession that went nowhere. And I think the Avs are going to look at the game 4 and the end of that, really period 3, and say, okay, let's start the game like that. Start it like that, and good Lord, get the first goal. You like that, especially on away ice. That will at least give you some and get it early. If you can get on the board early and be like, okay, here we go. Let's build off of that.
And especially with the way the Avs are gripping their stick so tight and just playing so in their head and worrying about screwing up. Well, look at your last 3 games. There's your screw up. You're so worried about screwing up. Well, congratulations. The last 3 games are that. You've got exactly what you ask out of your gift. Everything else has not worked. And if you drive that play deeper, usually when they turn that puck over, it's a poke and then it's right back out of the zone. You got to reset. And then it gets jumbled up in the neutral zone. And then Dallas takes it and just wears you down in your own zone. You have to drive it deeper. If you turn it over, you can allow yourself more room to keep it in the zone and keep that pressure going. So if you're so worried about screwing up, put yourself in better positions where if you do, it's not do or die, and you're not turning the ice over to Dallas. You have to have a better pressure and put yourself in positions that a screw up doesn't automatically mean the ice is tilted and it's a goal and an odd man rush. Put yourself in better positions and give yourself a little room to be creative and make something happen.
I'm always of the mind of the team that is on the verge of clinching a series, the pressure is on them.
Yep.
I've always felt that way. Where some people feel like, well, the pressure's on the team that their season's on the line. Yeah, there's truth to that too. I'm not saying there's no pressure on the Avs at all, but for Dallas, there's pressure on this team to finish this off on home ice, because you don't want what Florida's feeling right now. Like, okay, we got to go back to Boston. I'm not saying Florida's feeling terrible. They're playing great hockey, but you want to close it out on home ice. So there's pressure right there on Dallas. And it just seems like for the duration of this series, Dallas has done nothing wrong. Everything else, or I should say, everything is going their way. They're getting all the puck luck. They're capitalizing on Avalanche mistakes. Can that keep going? Is there going to be a moment where it's the opposite, where you have Dallas has a bad game? I'm not saying rely on that, but make them have the bad game. You're not doing that. Dallas is just going about their day, and it's just like a walk in the park for them so far. You're not making it difficult for them at all. Force them to react to you. The Avalanche are far too many times reacting to Dallas, especially when the Avalanche have the puck. You're letting them give you no time and space. They're closing the gap on you, and then you decide to make a move or a pass, and by then it's too late. So you got to have quick passes, use your speed, get them on their heels, and not know what you're going to do with the with the puck when it comes to the pass or a shot or whatever the case may be. But the Avalanche just are when your passing is not tape to tape and it's just a little bit off, Dallas is pouncing. They are pouncing and they are causing turnover after turnover after turnover, and back to the other side of the ice they go. So you got to be, everything has got to be, perfect. It has to be. And you have the ability to do that. Clearly, you have the ability and the skill to do that. You just have not shown it at all. Now is the time. I am getting tired, Kyle, of I've heard it more in this series. I think I've heard it. I should say this way. I've heard it about the same amount during the series as I've had over the course of the entire regular season. And that is players on the Avalanche saying, we have more to give. Well, now is the time to give it, fellas.
Yeah.
Now is the time. They're saying it after every single game. And every time they say it, I'm like, well, what are you waiting for? It's playoff hockey. Come on.
And honestly, the in the first 4 games, the Dallas Stars have been the better team because they know what to
100%.
do
Yeah.
with the situations they're given by the Colorado Avalanche and turnovers and just poor performance and play. And if you have more to give, you have to dictate it with scoring first and having the momentum. The Avalanche needs to be the better team and make Dallas work a little bit because honestly, I you can bring up whatever stat or score or whatever moment. Dallas has had the momentum. They have not had to work. They have worked what you've given them. You have to make Dallas work for a little bit, and Colorado needs to get a foothold. And this is the game to do it because you're not the more to give. What are you waiting for? Opening night next year? Like this is it.
Yeah. Is it? This is it. So you got to go out and throw everything you have at them, and play loose. Not so loose where you're just not you're losing your assignments. You got to keep your assignments and play your game. But I just don't want to see that coming out stale and just afraid to do anything that might result in a mistake. And I get why the Avalanche might think that way because it just seems like if when you make a mistake and the other team capitalizes it, it seems like it's in the back of your goal. So I get the thinking, but you got to get out of that mindset. It's not working. It's not working right now. So let's see where it goes. Line changes on the way. We'll talk about that, and our subtext people will chime in as well. We'll do that next. All right. So, yeah, I mean, when you're like this and things are not going the way that you want them to go, you're down in the series, your season is on the line, you expect some changes here and there. Could line changes be a part of that? What do you think? Like anywhere, like from the top line through the fourth line, would it benefit the Avalanche to kind of, rearrange some things or just keep it mainly as it is and, just get back to our game, but just like we said in the last segment, just play a little bit more loose and just not so in your own heads? Would that just solve the problem or would line changes solve the problem?
Well, this is one of those that again the Avs have their backs against the wall, so you have to evaluate every shift as it goes. Like who's playing? Like Nathan MacKinnon in game 4, you saw him getting visibly just frustrated, aggravated, taking himself out of the play, just kind of skating to the boards when it came to a shift. Mikko, he's been that way all series. Cale Makar, game 4 was weird for how invisible he was. And when it comes to line changes, you got to go with the hot hands. Whoever realizes the gravity of the moment and wants to go get that win, you start moving them up. And everybody that wants to drag their feet and be frustrated and aggravated, you're going to keep Nathan MacKinnon up there, but you might start dropping Mikko down. And then
I think. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, you have to, because what are you saving it for? Like what we were talking about, you have to give more. If you're going to sandbag and just slow it down, well, then line 3 is just for you. Line 4, sit there for a minute. I don't care if we're making you mad, upset. We're trying to win a game here. And you start rewarding those who are going after that win and are pushing. Give them more time. Give them more minutes. I don't care what the minutes look like. On time on ice, go get the win.
I think the one that everybody's looking at it is like what to do with Mikko Rantanen. It's so polarizing because you can make either argument here, like leave him where he is because he's Mikko Rantanen, or you've had enough of a sample size in these playoffs to know that he's not 100%. And he's just not playing Mikko Rantanen hockey. Like he's still getting his points. He's still, well, he's not getting like his points like hand over fist like we're used to him getting. That's the issue. We're not getting the Mikko Rantanen we're used to. We're getting good Mikko Rantanen. We're not getting great Mikko Rantanen. So is that matchups? Is that just the top line of Dallas is just owning him right now and dropping him down to a second line where, maybe it's a little bit better matchup for him. Do they go that route? I mean, I think it's, we have Jonathan Drouin back, and then who would be on that top line? Now with Nichushkin gone, and Nichushkin kind of went top line, second line. Bednar does that. Obviously, you have Arturi Lehkonen there, who could be up on that. Is that your top line? You go with McKinnon, Drouin, and Lehkonen. You're nodding
Absolutely.
your head. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's if it's one of those that Miko gets out there and he's just kind of half striding, and you see it's the exact same that you've got every game of this series. Miko drops to the second line. You have Lecky, Drouin, and Nathan McKinnon. Go after it, and then
Mhm.
what you go from there. You keep dropping because Miko, like you said, he's playing good. I think he's being very average because we have
Yeah, well, that's good. I mean, good is average, right? So,
you want Nathan McKinnon, Miko, and Kale have not taken over a single game of this series. So
no.
I don't give a good title to any one of them, especially when this team is 3-1 in this
Mhm.
series. Nobody's playing good because it should not be. So I would start it out that way. Nate stays, he is permanently stapled on line one.
Mhm.
From there,
Sure it is. Yep.
next man up.
And I'm not saying do this for the duration of the game, but maybe start off this way just as a tone setter. And that's bring up not to the top line, maybe to the second line, just for a shift or two to start off the game. Bring up Miles Wood there,
Mm.
just because he's a bowling ball. You know what I mean? Like, have him just skate around just crazily, and have no idea what he's going to do, but he's going to give you 150% and maybe, a nice check into the boards or something like that to get the guys going. And then you have Yakov Trenin on the, who I think has been great in this series. I think he's been really, really good on doing what he is supposed to do. And he obviously can throw his weight around. Um, I wouldn't leave Miles Wood in that position for the duration of the game. Trust
No.
me. But just to, like I said, set a tone. I love what he brings in that aspect. So will they do it? I don't think so. I'm just saying, like, if I was a coach, I'd play around with that. Maybe. Why not? It'd be fun. And he'd give it to you. He'd say, "Hey, I need you to go out and do this for me to start the game." You would get, "Yes, sir," on it. Say no more.
I
So,
would I would run that heavy line. I would, and you have the Dallas Stars constantly looking at the bench for who's coming over the wall. You
mm,
never know when Nathan McKinnon or Mikko Rantanen is coming out, but every time you
mm,
turn around, you're getting a Kivi Ranta. You're getting those weird mismatches, and then they're still looking for your change. Keep them guessing. That's a great way to get the momentum on
yeah.
your side and break things up a little bit.
It is if it's working. If it's not working, it's just crazy. It's just congestion and nobody knows who's going where. So, it's just cross-eyed all over the place. So it's a risk to do that for the duration of the game. But I understand what you're saying, and it's a thought. It's a thought. I'm looking for Miles Wood to have a good game.
Yeah.
I am. So, all right. Some subtext people chiming in here. Let's get to a few of these. Avs fan. It's going back to Denver. He's pretty confident in that. They have to win. This team has the mental, physical toughness to win. They just have to get out of their heads and play their game. Yeah, exactly what we said. You're right. They are. I think it's just too much cerebral thinking for them right now. It's too much to. Is it too much to get over? I don't think so. I mean, if the game starts the way all these other games have, they're going to be like, okay, here we go again. It's going to be another grind. Not to say they can't win those games, but if they come out, just play loose, get an early goal, changes the mindset.
And the management knows their back is up against the wall. So if you're not playing at 100%, that will be evaluated in the off season. So if you like playing for the Avalanche, you better show it. This is the
Mhm.
show it game.
Heather says, I'd love for the Avs to pull themselves together, make the dump and chase a thing of the past, and put Dallas in their place. Do I think they can? Yes. Do I still believe in our guys? Yes. At the end of the day, though, it's a game. The Avs need to show the Stars what great hockey IQ they have and why Parise believed in them for his last chance to win a cup. Good comment there, Heather. Yeah, you're playing for guys like him. So keep his season alive.
And it would be crazy to think Suter advances and Parise doesn't.
One of them's got to advance.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, clearly you wanted the R guy. And Vargar, DeBar is the bane of the Bednar McKinnon Avs. Bednar won't make adjustments, just like with the Vegas series against DeBoer. Nate is frustrated, and that gets him off his game. Without a power forward like Nuke or Landy in front of Ottinger, the Avs can't do what they need to do on the power play. Avs with desperation and make it close, but he thinks that this season's over for them. So he thinks it's going to overtime, and they lose 3-2 in overtime. Yeah, man. I mean, they don't have that net front presence in this game. So they're going to have to find different ways to get pucks in the back of the net. And they can't get too creative. They can't get too cute. Throw pucks on net. Have a high shot on goal rate. I know Ottinger's been great with his rebound control. He's been phenomenal with it. But if you throw, it's just the law of averages. The more pucks you throw on net, he's bound to let a few bounce off of him. And when he does, you just have to be Johnny on the spot and get the puck in the back of the net. Easier said than done, but it's how you got to play it.
And I like the first half of that comment. I feel like Bednar is Charles Xavier and DeBoer is Magneto. Like Bednar has all these wonderful ideas and he gets the team working, but DeBoer, he knows how to make Bednar try and step it up, and the team just hasn't so far.
No, they have not. So, and that was my question earlier. Is like, can that continue? Is this team too good for that just to continue? That they just keep shooting themselves in the foot. I know it's a lot of Dallas making them do that, but we'll just have to see. Let's see. One more. Amy says, I think they will bounce back after that abysmal performance in Game 4. Unfortunately, I don't think it'll be enough to get the win. Honestly, Dallas just seems better. That said, I really hope I'm wrong. I said earlier it'd be nice for Dallas to have a bad game. I'm not anticipating that. So you have to go out and beat them. So they are. They've been the better team. The Avs just have to flip that script. There's no easy way to say that. They just have to. They have to be the better team in this game. It's going to be a tough task. And then you got to do it again, and then you got to do it again. Can they do it? Sure. I mean, it's not over. So until it's over, then we'll say like, no, wasn't possible. But we'll see.
Yeah,
There's always a chance. Always a chance.
You have one team trying to save their season, one team trying to get to the Western Conference Final, and who knows how long of a break to rest and wait for your opponent.
Exactly. Yep. So, all right, that'll wrap it up, everybody. We shall see. It'll be an exciting game, hopefully. And however it goes, we will be here tomorrow to discuss it all. Until then, thank you for tuning in and making it your first listen of the day. Always appreciated. For Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan, I am Chris Maselli. This is the Locked On Avalanche podcast, and we'll see you guys after the game.